the great host of the NFL Today. He will be hosting Super Bowl Today on Sunday, Super Bowl 58 on CBS, and he is here on behalf of the Huntsman Family Foundation that we will talk about during his appearance. James Brown. James, good morning. How are you?
Good to be with you. Boom, this is really a first-class professional deal and host that you have.
No, I appreciate that, JB. Don't look at what they're wearing because they don't really, it doesn't come off too professional. But yeah, the studio's great, right?
No question.
I mean, and I told you, this is a first-class, CBS has done first-class stuff for all of us since we came out here this past summer. Mm-hmm. And you had to wear the hat, you had to wear the jacket. It was 110 degrees out.
More talks about the hat. I'm just hoping that this little teeny-weeny afro wig is still holding place, you know. Otherwise, I will put a hat on, Boom.
Now, I had heard, Boomer had told me how high maintenance you can be at times, and he had dropped that, and I got the firsthand experience now because there was like 6 or 7 people that Al Dukes had to communicate with just to get you here this morning, and I am blown away by the James Brown contingent.
If you ever catch me with an entourage, I give you permission to smack me. That is not the case. No. Those are the people. Boom knows me all too well. I'm really engaged in a lot of cause-related efforts. Monica Hawkins has her own consulting company, a woman with whom I've been associated with, she and her husband, for a long time. I got involved, as Boomer knows, with the domestic violence space a number of years ago. As a matter of fact, our first Thursday night game, we dealt with that, sadly, on the heels of the Ray Rice situation, the rise in anti-Semitism. I'm certainly known to speak out about those things. And now this space here in terms of mental health and as well as the fentanyl and opioid crisis, the Huntsman family, look, I know we know them to be a very substantive family, but they have deep hearts as well and are committed to this. Had no idea how many athletes are challenged with the stigma associated with mental health. High-performing athletes like Boom. So we're just trying to see if we can do some good. The Huntsmans, they're looking to make a global impact in this way, Gio, and I'm humbled that they would have me to be a part of that.
JB, do you know anybody in your life, because we do have somebody in our lives that we all know that has passed away due to fentanyl, and just how serious a problem it has become. And I know that's part of this mission here, to raise the level of awareness. I think we all do aware, but we all have somebody in our life that we have lost due to fentanyl poisoning.
And of the 3 issues that I just chatted about, especially mental health, and Boom, I can't talk in great detail because while mental health, suicide impacted my family, it's not my story to tell. As a matter of fact, I called the relative whose mom it was, very close to me as well. And I said, you know what, I'm going on Boomer's program, Boomer and Geo, but I can't, talk about it without your permission. He broke down. This happened about 40 years ago. He broke down as if it happened yesterday.
It is heartbreaking.
Yes.
And
so
a lot of this leads to suicide.
No question about it. And Pastor Tanja Miles, with whom I'm working, talk about a very gifted speaker on this and very personal. Look, I think we're going to do some good in making people aware, but more than making them aware, what are the next steps and talking about cures? That's what's most important. So, and I appreciate you guys giving me this platform.
Well, listen, the great James Brown is joining us, and I know that Al wants to ask you a question.
Hey, Boomer, by the way, do you guys still run the drop, if you will?
Okay. Al Dukes needs to ask you a question.
I got to follow his lead, the quarterback. Yes. Go ahead, Al.
Hey, James.
Yes.
What about the dogs? What about the dogs?
You know what? I thought that was a pretty good start for me working for 60 minutes.
It was tremendous.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the way you first asked it, paused.
Wasn't it genuine?
Yeah, very genuine.
100%. Yeah,
made it great.
And asked it again for emphasis. What about the dogs? What about the dogs?
Yeah.
Oh, tremendous.
I mean, that's an all-time moment. That's why you are who you are.
But you know what? Let me give credit to Michael Vick for really answering the question genuinely. Fellows, when I went to visit him at Leavenworth Prison, Tony Dungy and I both were engaged with him. We went there separately so that our colleagues in the media wouldn't follow us out to Leavenworth to talk with him. Everybody wanted to talk to Michael. I said, Mike, I know you got all the big magazine shows that want to talk with you. I'm coming to talk with you because I thought I heard deep in your speech, if you will, your testimony, some genuineness there. I said, if you're looking to be paid or to capitalize on this, I'm not your guy, but I'll give you the opportunity to do that. I have hard questions to ask. He cut me off and said, I have answers to give to those hard questions, and I really respected him. And look at what he's done with his life since.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been involved with the Humane Society. You know, he was only supposed to do that for 2 years. He's been doing it ever since. So he's really committed to that. Go ahead, Boom.
No, I was just going to say that had to be a really difficult interview. I mean, had you ever been to a prison before like that?
My dad was in law enforcement, not like that.
Right.
But my father was in law enforcement. He was a prison guard at the local prison on the outskirts of where you were in school at Maryland. He was in Virginia at Lorton Prison. So it's a scary feeling. And when you hear the doors, those iron doors close behind those guys, they realize how serious this is, and there's no escaping it. So it was quite unnerving, to say the least.
So I was telling these guys just everything that you have to do on a normal Sunday. Now, this is Super Bowl
Which,
Sunday.
by the way, Mr. Multi-talented broadcaster, you've done a ton of times as well. So
yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
but not like you. I mean, but this coming Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday for you, there's a lot of heavy lifting. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of prepping. You and Sammy, our writer, have to work together.
Who's excellent. Sammy Smith,
he is.
yeah.
See, so Sammy, this is funny.
Yeah, you tell me the disconnect here between these
disconnect.
two.
So how old is Sam?
That's a nice way to put it, too, Gio. The disconnect.
JB,
Call me square, Gio.
How old is Sammy?
Like 25, 26.
Right, and he writes like a 25 and 26-year-old would speak. So he's got JB like our grandpa. How many grandkids you got now?
I got 4, proudly, absolutely.
Yeah, so he's got 4 grandkids. So, and sometimes it's funny listening to JB read what Sammy's writing.
Because they know I don't talk like that. But go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this week, Sunday, 4 hours, halftime, post-game, you are on camera. I mean, how many... I would say scenes are you speaking through?
Well, I guess throughout, hey, Boom, the payoff is when we're not doing the scripted pregame show.
Right.
It's when we do the halftime and we do the postgame, because that's where we engage. My job is to, look, Boom is from the fraternity. That's the word that I use. Guys who've played the game, they understand it well. It's important for me to understand the game, to understand the top line stories, the sidebars, but to be able to ask the intelligent questions of these guys, because I have respect for the game. And that's something that John Madden and Tony Dungy, Bobby Mitchell, God bless them, they taught me about the sport, to respect what you guys do. That's a tough sport. I've heard many guys who've retired like you go and watch a game standing on the sidelines, and they're like, we played this game.
Yes.
As hard-hitting as those guys are, unbelievable.
How about the sideline last week in Baltimore? I mean, those guys are getting after. I mean, they always get after it, but even these Super Bowls are going to be incredible. There's no question about that. You know, the other thing that I did want to ask you is that you were a great basketball player at Harvard. You played at the
Boomer sounds about, 85 pounds ago? But yeah, go ahead.
No,
So
but I'm just saying, we have
Al.
a picture of JB. What was your vertical in college?
You know what? It was probably about, Boomer, if I'm not lying, about 46 inches. I mean,
Think about that 46-inch vertical jump for James Brown.
Well, Miss Christina just got finished working with me with my Red Fox or hip, my Festus hip. You know, having had hip replacement surgery about 7-8 years ago. Went to Israel with Bob Kraft, Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. He was the face of the trip. Ron Dermer, Israel's ambassador to the U.S., it was his idea. They took about 18 Hall of Famers and their wives to go over to Israel because they wanted athletes to be the mouthpiece to see what was happening there directly. Clearly, we see what's going on right now, and that's so very hurtful when all of us, I'm sure, affirm life, you know, in that circumstance there. But that's when I went to get hip replacement surgery. I was concerned because when Robert Kraft said, JB, you're hurting me looking at you walk. Would you go get it done? So I set up the surgery, and the ward that I'm on where all the orthopedic surgeons perform the surgery, the nurses are telling me, you know what, orthopedic surgeons who do hip replacement surgery, they're the only ones that can go to the hardware store to get their equipment to do the surgery. I wanted to get up and leave because I saw one guy walking down the hall with a saw, but he was actually a building and maintenance guy, so I was really nervous.
So what is your vertical leap now?
Oh, it's probably about a 2-inch.
It's about 2 inches, okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm talking to JB, James Brown of CBS Sports on Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Now, there's these classic clips of guys like Chris Berman when he loses it off the air that went viral.
Oh, no, Boomer set you up.
No, he did not.
He did? Go ahead.
No. And Bill O'Reilly, the screw it, we'll do it live. have you had one of those moments, because you don't seem like the type of guy that would like throw his headphones down and yell something? You don't seem like a guy who curses much. Do you have those moments, or are you Teflon to that type of emotion?
I have to be genuine, and Boomer knows me all too well. I am a man of faith. I think in 30 plus years, I've done this. Maybe one profane word slipped out, and I did apologize profusely for that. I have, quote unquote, lost it a couple of times, but it's more of a journalistic frustration that I was expressing just so that we can stay on track. Never at my guys, because we're all in this together. And the thing that I love about it is that we do have a nice camaraderie. Heavens, when Phil Simms came to the show, so many people were thinking that he and Boomer hated each other. Hey, by the way, they've made a lot of money off of feigning like they hate each other. But these guys really do like each other. They know and love the game so exceedingly well. Boomer covers all sports, including hockey. I don't know if I went to Boomer to get some input, some advice before I was hosting a hockey show. When they asked me, I'm like, moi?
Yes, back in the day you were doing hockey.
And they were talking about where research was showing that hockey wanted to move meaningfully into the lower 48, and they wanted to make it more of an urban game, so they asked me to host a show. Boom, Gio, Al, I studied those names assiduously for like 3 months, because the worst thing you can do is to mess up a name. So when they're introducing me to the hockey press, it was so funny. The guys asked me, JB, do you know what the icing is? So I explained what icing is. JB, do you know what a two-line pass is? I explained what a two-line pass is. JB, do you know how they substitute in hockey? I said, fellas, yes, line shifts. I said, look, let's just take the veneer off the questions. I understand what you're asking, so let me be clear. No, hockey wasn't big in my neighborhood, and I get that. And the only thing I have in common with the sport is the color of the puck. But I promise you that I will be an excellent host of the show. And it is perhaps the most interesting and exciting audio-visual experience to go to a Rangers game, which I did, to understand it, having worked with Dave Maloney. Love me some hockey.
Absolutely.
I just can't imagine how tall Boomer is on skates.
Yeah, he's intimidating.
Very
slow these days. Very slow.
About, it's like snapping on the set, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was 2 years ago, Bill Cowher had to do all the updates for Week 18, and there were a lot of different machinations that went into that. And because of all the playoff implications that were happening, if you remember
Which, by the way, is your specialty.
Yeah, I know, but if you remember, Coach had it this weekend.
Okay.
And, he had his headsets on. He's got the producer in his ear, Drew, and he's doing like update after update after update. And then
Drew Kaliski, by the way, is one of the absolute best in the business.
Yeah, he's our producer. So he's basically telling us what we're doing at halftime. And the coach is like, will you stop? Everybody just stop for a minute. I never saw Coach snap like that before.
He played coach.
Yes, he played coach. He got angry. I saw a different side of Coach Cowher.
Yeah.
Like we see this
chin comes out,
Oh man, he just got so mad at everybody.
Hey, one of his favorite expressions in terms of, he was sharing a story, and I won't call the guy's name. One of his coordinators on a Wednesday practice didn't seem to have everything internalized in preparation for the upcoming week's opponent. And so Coach went over to him and asked him and said, hey, wait a minute, we're not doing what this other team does exceedingly well. What's going on? And so the coordinator said, well, I'm not concerned about it. Bill says, you know what? I'm concerned that you're not concerned about it, So, and he always says, it's get comfortable being
uncomfortable. Right,
Bill Cowher's got all kinds of witticisms.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, absolutely, as we saw a couple weeks ago. And he has even more of those witticisms when he has a couple of Casamigos in him. And then they really start spewing out.
Gio, try eating in the hotel where they've got the room service. They bring the little delicacies, and I'm looking at the popcorn that's brown, like it's been sautéed. And so these guys, they're the stars doing a hangover routine.
No.
Oh, don't talk about that.
No.
Okay, so I'll stop there. But they were recording.
Yeah.
I came in and I was wobbly and woozy. And that's not me. And I asked the guys, I'm heading out of the hotel to go to the shoot, what's in the popcorn? And he says they saute it or dip it in bourbon.
You got drunk off of popcorn? Come on. Did you?
Bust me. Go ahead. Don't be delicate with
what
me.
a lightweight.
Hey, it just exactly. Well, I wish that were the case, but no. It just shows you how clean my system is.
Yeah,
but I
that's
definitely felt that. Thank goodness I only had 2 sets of lines, so I had those.
Yeah, we were going. By the way, we were going over rehearsal, but he was sleeping up in the bedroom.
Sleeping off the bourbon popcorn, Al. Yeah.
Another thing that Boomer brings up all the time is how you have food that doesn't normally go together. Like it'll be like a Bronzino and some Skittles or something.
Not Skittles, pears.
Pears. Okay. Is this true or is he exaggerating?
Gio, it is true. Boomer and Dan Marino, they saw me when they brought my meal out. It was grapes and like steak, and peanut butter. And they're like, Boomer's like, boy, they made a bad hire. But hey, Gio, I'm still working at it, I'm just going to go buy some nice Spanx later today.
No, I mean, listen, you lost a ton of weight and have mostly kept it off, yes? It's been years.
Good. Well, I don't know if Miss Christina Huntsman would think that the way she saw me limping around this morning. But yeah, it's been pretty good.
So you were here for the Huntsman Family Foundation. Do they have a website?
Yes, they do. I pulled it up here. It's HuntsmanMentalHealthFoundation.org. HuntsmanMentalHealthFoundation.org. And right on the front there, our work, suicide prevention, prioritizing mental health often requires courage because it can involve confronting stigma, seeking help, and making difficult decisions. Learn more at this website here, HuntsmanMentalHealthFoundation.org. Yes.
Awesome. Can I just say thank you on that? Because, again, the issues, fentanyl, opioid, mental health, cuts across every silo. No one is immune to this. And when I think about athletes, look, Boomer's got some of the greatest stories about all of his athletic exploits and the kind of people with whom he's worked. And I need to be careful because what Boomer does share, and he doesn't reveal names, but there are athletes that he's played with who saw him as the godfather figure with the team to get things done.
Yeah.
And these were some people who may well have had some issues, if you will. But Boomer, thank goodness, he's a genuine hearted guy and tried to help folks. But now we're trying to put some structure around this in the Huntsman family. I mean, to be investing mega millions of dollars to this cause is really pretty serious, though, for sure. Yeah.
I know this might sound crazy, but sitting next to James Brown, he's inspiring to me to be a better person.
Oh, wow.
Does that make sense?
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Boomer
won't agree with you, but
no. The problem is that he hasn't had that same effect on Phil Simms.
Like the way you speak so nicely of everybody, protect your teammates and like all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, I need to be more like you. I haven't figured it out yet, man.
Come over to the studio and hang out with us one time, G.
I haven't figured it out like he's figured it out.
He's totally figured it out, but you're much younger than he is.
You got
a long way to go
yet. I'm still
yet.
in my 40s. I should have figured it out a little bit more.
You know what? Now, don't get me started with this. Monica Hawkins will tell you there's a sermon that I deliver that's called, it's an athletically themed, biblically sound one called Break the Huddle and Run the Play. You guys are emblematic of a team here with what you do, which is why you guys are so successful at it and getting it done. People do take their cues from you guys in the morning. As much frivolity as you guys much engage in, you do talk about some serious topics. And I'm telling you, Billy Fortune at the, what is it called? Not the Acela Club now, at the Monahan building. The Metropolitan Lounge.
Metropolitan Lounge for the Acela,
I'm telling you guys, I go in there and he started his day listening to you guys. So you guys are the Bible. So Gio, you got to make sure you're giving him something to be encouraged about.
Let me ask this, JB, real quickly. Last question for me, and that is like, you talk about team and you talk about getting the most out of your teammates. What you do at the NFL today, and we feel that. We definitely feel it. You make sure we all have about the same amount of time. And every now and again, Phil goes overboard, but that's okay. We're used to that. When a teammate doesn't hold up their end of the bargain, especially when you're on a road trip, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're just kind of, mailing it in. What do you do with a teammate like that?
I don't know that I've had that experience before, but if I do, I will go and talk. Boomer, I was in corporate America working in sales management with Xerox and Eastman Kodak before. You do employ the proper approach, and you go and have that conversation at first. Hey, I didn't play the game, but I better be on top of it to act like I know what I'm talking about. Because if not, you'll boot me out of there as well, too. JB's asking me a stupid question. Can you give me a break? So, no, I'll have a conversation because the scriptures, Ephesians 4:16, every joint supplies. The secular expression is it's a rising tide that lifts all ships. But we all have to be carrying our weight to get it done. And I better make sure I do that.
Well, you do that.
And
You need to do that too, Al.
Mr. AD, yes, go ahead.
there was one more question.
Yeah, we had one more question.
Yes, that Al reminded me of.
Okay.
Do you believe that Phil Simms wears lady glasses, or are they men's glasses?
No. I don't feel that he wears them. He does wear them. Oh, no question about it. Phil knows I would never speak ill of him. He's had Diana, right? Diana.
There I am trimming his eyebrows.
Oh, look at him. No. He wears his wife's eyeglasses, but he is forever forgetful on everything. Oh, yes. Call Diana. He's got his own glasses now, but he's worn Diana's glasses. Absolutely.
I knew it.
Phil Simms didn't tell you that?
No, we identified them as lady glasses, and
You were all over it.
Yeah.
Call Diana. She'll tell you the truth. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was wearing his wife's glasses. That's a whole
AD,
thing now.
Al Dukes, if you look at the show this week and Phil's on the other side of the lectern, if you will, you'll know that he had a fit with me divulging this.
Oh, there they are. They're the lady glasses. There they are, right there. Yep, there they are. Yeah, see? Oh, man.
But he can pull it off, though.
Of course he can. Yes,
Phil was a boxer. You don't want to get him upset.
The great James Brown, on behalf of the Huntsman family. You can go to huntsmanmentalhealthfoundation.org, and the work that they are doing here is just absolutely tremendous. And there are many athletes who are now speaking up about their struggles with mental health that never did. A guy like Kevin Love in the NBA, had the courage to come out and say some stuff. So I think the more of that you get, the more that this stigma sort of disappears. And what Huntsman family is doing here is great work.
Hey, you guys have an awesome show. Thank you very much for having me here in the studio. I appreciate it.
Saturday. Don't we have a rehearsal on Saturday?
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
JB,
very nice meeting you, sir, in person. Mr. A.D. Randy Moss himself. I love it. Okay, sounds good.
You got mouse.
You got mouse. That's what happened.
Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.